Here. We just want to welcome everybody. We are recording this meeting because we know there are some members of our Hunterdon County community who might not be able to join tonight and might want to watch our recording at a later date. I want to thank those of you that joined us this evening as we have a kickoff session for the Artificial Intelligence Committee for both Hunterdon County and Flemington-Raritan Regional School District. I've got two important colleagues with me this evening. Ralph Lasano, who is a director here in Flemington-Raritan, and Hannah Natia, who is one of our supporters of technology. She's a teacher in the district, as well as a robotics coach and a grant writer. So I welcome both of my Flemington-Raritan colleagues with me this evening. Just a brief introduction about why we're having this session tonight. We're sharing tonight an information session about artificial intelligence in order to help members of our community understand where we're headed in Hunterdon County with artificial intelligence. This kickoff event is to inform our community members about what AI is all about and how it has the potential to improve student achievement, enhance our curriculum and instruction. Our information session tonight will, we hope, broaden as we begin to form smaller committees within each county. So Flemington-Raritan will have its own committee within our district, as well as others throughout Hunterdon County. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lasano, as I mentioned, my director here in Flemington-Raritan, and let him introduce himself, and then Hannon as well, and we'll get started. Thanks again for those of you that are with us tonight.
Great. Thanks, Dr. McGann. And as Dr. McGann said, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Hopefully this will give everybody some more insight into where we are headed and give everybody a general view and common understanding of some of the terms and programs and next steps. So I think without further ado, we'll jump on in. What we're going to cover this evening is, again, generally what is AI, the different types of AI that we are seeing currently in our daily lives, AI in education specifically, district policy and where we're headed with that, and then some family guidance. So the AI revolution is here, but it's actually less of a revolution and more of an evolution.
The artificial intelligence revolution is here. I'm
going to pause real quick. Can everybody hear the audio on that? Okay, perfect.
Sound like hyperbole. After all, the world looks the same. The revolution didn't arrive with Skynet and robots or with blade-running cyborgs. It's been subtle. Autocorrect here, Grammarly suggestions there, an autofill option in Gmail and Google searches, a small chat at the bottom right-hand corner of a website, and most recently with ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence chatbot that answers questions. If you're imagining Siri or Alexa or even Clippy, rest in peace Clippy, it's so much more than that. ChatGPT can write original essays, compose song lyrics, create stories, and generate original lines of code. AI can make up a recipe for an apple cobbler and then a workout plan to help you burn off those calories from that apple cobbler.
AI has been here for years. This is nothing that is new, it's just being viewed in a different way. Field of AI research was founded in 1956 at a workshop on the campus of Dartmouth College. From there, the attendees became the leaders of AI research for many decades, and they predicted at that time that machines as intelligent as humans would exist within a generation. We all know that has not happened. So that brings us to our timeline. If we look here, we see the beginning, slow progress. Then there was the AI winter, they call it, where things pretty much slowed down. We were not seeing many new developments happening. And then we continued forward until November 30th, 2022, when ChatGPT was released, OpenAI, and the world seemed to come alive, or everybody started to panic with what is this and what is it going to do? So before we freak out, let's just take a moment to reflect. The mid-1970s is when electronic calculators came in to education, and people started saying, this is going to be the end of math. Students are no longer going to learn math. They're not going to know how to do math. Calculators are going to ruin everything. Well, we know that that has not happened. 1998, Google was launched and became pretty commonplace, and we saw it in educational institutions. And again, it was students are not going to learn. They're only going to Google things. They're just going to look it up. They're never going to learn anything. They're not going to learn how to do things. Everybody took a breath, and we know Google is a powerful tool that does help, but it has not destroyed education. So that brings us to AI, ChatGPT 2022. All of this one step at a time. We just need to look at this in the broad picture. This is another tool that we have at our disposal to help enhance student learning, to help teacher productivity. How it is used is still going to be defined, but it is a moment for us to all collectively take a breath and know that this will become commonplace, just as the other tools have. So a general definition of what is AI. It's a computing machine's ability to perform cognitive functions that historically only human minds could accomplish. There are some examples on the screen of different types of AI expert systems. And this is something that I think if we all reflect and we take a moment as we go through this, you'll start to see it's been in our lives in many, many ways, sometimes very visible, sometimes not at all, but it's already been here. The shift we're seeing is now with generative AI, and we're going to get a little bit more into what is that and how that impact is being seen. So I'm going to play this video. It's a quick 2-minute overview of what is artificial intelligence.
Can AI replace humans? Sometimes, yes. Siri, Alexa, Cortana, and Google Assistant. These are all forms of AI or artificial intelligence, but AI extends far past voice-activated assistants. AI is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems, and almost all businesses today employ some type of AI, some more complicated than others. AI can be categorized as weak or strong. Weak AI is a system designed and trained for a particular task, like voice-activated assistance. It can maybe answer your question or obey a programmed command, but can't work without human interaction. Strong AI is an AI system with generalized human cognitive abilities, meaning it can solve tasks and find solutions without human intervention. A self-driving car is an example of strong AI that uses a combination of computer vision, image recognition, and deep learning to pilot a vehicle while staying in a given lane and avoiding unexpected obstacles, like pedestrians. AI has made its way into a variety of industries that benefit both businesses and consumers, like healthcare, education, finance, law, and manufacturing. In fact, many technologies incorporate AI, including automation, machine learning, machine vision, natural language processing, and robotics. The application of AI raises legal, ethical, and security concerns. For instance, if an autonomous vehicle is involved in an accident, liability is unclear. And hackers are using sophisticated machine learning tools to gain access to sensitive systems. Despite the risks, there's very few regulations governing the use of AI tools, but experts assure that AI will simply improve products and services and won't replace us humans anytime soon.
So, okay, video's trying to play again. Just another little glimpse into AI and where we already see it in our everyday lives. 3 types of AI. There's reactive. These are those specific inputs or situations, and the machine responds without learning from past experiences. Hey, Alexa, what time is it? Hey, Siri, text so-and-so. This is something that is changing. My phone just activated Siri because I said that. But this is something that is not that smart. It's something that's been around for a while. It's useful, but it's not the AI that we're really looking at right now. Predictive. Analyze historical data, past experiences, predict future events. This is you finish watching a show on Netflix and it says, because you watch this, you may enjoy this. Or because you purchased this song, you may also like this artist, and so forth. And then generative. This is where we're really honing in our focus right now. It's generating new content, new outputs. It's being fed massive, massive amounts of data. And from that data, it is learning, it's developing patterns, algorithms, and it is producing new content. And this is things like ChatGPT, Gemini, DALL-E. There's a whole host of programs, as we all know. An example, speech recognition. This is something we've had for a very long time. It's baked into a lot of products. Machine vision, as the video was just talking about, being able to sense where you are. A lot of cars today, even if they're not self-driving vehicles, are able to can we see the screen now? Sorry, thank you. I did not realize it wasn't moving forward. So machine vision, as the video was talking about, this is in a lot of vehicles already. You start to veer a little bit out of your lane and it beeps and the little light on your mirror may flash. It may even guide you back into your lane. So real world uses, service robots. These are already being deployed in a lot of places. You know, they're able to go in and clean the bathroom. They are in supermarkets. Someone drops something in aisle 4, cleanup on aisle 4 is now done by a robot. I know a couple of friends that live in PA, giant supermarkets have these robots, and some of them find them to be a little bit intrusive or a little bit interesting, shall we say. They sometimes seem like they're following you down the aisle. But we can see this is, you know, something that's already there. This is something that's already happening. So I'm not going to play the whole video. It continues to go on to mop the floor pretty nicely. But we're going to look at the AI programming behind this. So it's learning, it's acquiring data, it's creating new rules, it's creating new outputs. It's applying reasoning to determine the best answer.
I was just sharing that when we look at videos like that, it's amazing to think what the jobs of the future will be like and what we as superintendents, teachers, educators, and leaders of school districts are preparing our students for with the future of the world. It really is unbelievable. We think about robots cleaning bathrooms and how we're preparing students for what is to be determined as jobs that we can't even think about yet. I'm sure some of you are on the same page as I know I've got a colleague here. So Dr. Hart, who is the superintendent in Reddington, is here, and he and I have talked many nights in different meetings as well as during the day about roundtable about how we are preparing our students for work such as this. Glad to see you, Dr. Hart.
Hi, Dr. McGann. Good to be here. Did we lose Ralph?
Yeah, we did lose Ralph.
We did, yeah.
So he'll join back in just a minute. I had not seen that video before of the robots cleaning the bathroom. That is a new one for me. I could use one of those at my house. I hate cleaning the bathroom. So we talk to students here. One of the things that we're doing here in Flemington-Raritan to prepare students for jobs of the future, either career jobs or college jobs. And we are a pre-K to 8 district, just like Reddington is. But we are learning that, I've learned in the past, for many years now, we've known that we have to prepare students for a positive mindset in STEM very early on, that if we wait until the ages of under 8, we need to really help them have that positive mindset for STEM before they reach 8 years old, because that's where they tend to have a fixed mindset about, well, I don't like math. I don't like science. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at science. So we've been doing a lot of work here in Flemington-Raritan, just like Redington has, about creating opportunities for students to tinker, to find ways to be creative in lots of different ways that we've done that. So Hannah, will you just talk a little bit about how we've done that in our earliest ages of kids from pre-K up? And then I know Jonathan, Dr. Hart has some ways they've been doing it in Redington.
Absolutely. Our coding and robotics program at Flemington-Raritan is really exciting and innovative, and the students absolutely love it. You can walk into a robotics classroom and everybody is abuzz with learning, and for that very reason, that they see themselves as somebody in the field of STEM. I refer to my students as engineers. Every day I address my kindergartners as robotics engineers, and they know I'm talking to them. And I explain to them the role of engineers, and with that, we talk about the ways that engineers collaborate, the ways that teams have roles and jobs, and for the collective good, how those individuals each have a role to produce a product. We talk about prototypes as young as kindergarten. We talk about how things like Play-Doh and Legos and drawings, those are essentially prototypes for them. And we use that terminology. So by the time they're entering first grade, they're using terminology like algorithm, like debugging, like prototype, and all those wonderful engineering roles that they could potentially see themselves as. So yeah, we are definitely preparing students, like Dr. McGann said, so that the time they reach age 8, they're thinking beyond those community helper roles, and they're seeing themselves in science and engineering and computer science, all those fields that we need to prepare our students for 30 years from now.
How about in Redington, Dr. Hart? Anything you want to share with the group?
Yeah, Dr. McGann, it's interesting that this is a topic for tonight and something that we're working on in our district, because we're looking to, take our what we would traditionally call a computer teacher at the K-3 level and reinvent what that position does. And part of it is now obviously supporting technology integration in the classroom, but we've also been doing a lot of coding and experimenting in the classrooms with students, like, programming robots and things like that to do little tasks, programming 3D printers. We're working on even in our elementary buildings. It's fun. They get to make like little keychains. The kids program and make keychains or something like that they can sell at the school store, or, sell at a parent event or something like that. But we're working on it right now. We're trying to find ways to make it more STEM-like, and have that teacher be more of a STEM expert that can push into different classrooms and integrate math with science and do experiments and building and prototypes, as Hannah was talking about, with all of our students across our K-3 buildings.
One of the things, thanks, Dr. Hart. One of the things that Dr. Hart and other fellow superintendents in Hunterdon County and I have talked about is, where do we want AI to grow, and how do we want it to grow in Hunterdon County? So we're looking for this committee. This is an information session, but for committee work to help us as district leaders develop an AI policy and regulation. We're looking for our district committees to set up ethical and responsible use guidelines for AI, to develop potentially a student pledge about AI in order to help our students understand that we can use AI, but we have to use it ethically for the well-being and good of many, and also to teach our students about AI technology. So tonight's information session was just the kickoff to the work that's going to happen into the future. Ralph, I'm glad you're back. We're going to turn it over to you.
Sorry about that. I am not quite sure what happened, but I was having a heck of a time getting back on this meeting.
It's okay.
Can everybody see the screen again?
Yes.
All right. So I will try to make up for lost time as well. How do machines learn? I'm not going to read through this entire thing. I think everybody can look at it, but basically we're looking at data sets are fed in, it learns, it creates an algorithm to be able to process that data, and a prediction or an outcome is produced. So we must keep in mind, traditional AI, this has been here. This is something that's not new, as we discussed, Netflix watching a show. Generative AI. This is the new part that we're looking at very closely, aiming to create new content such as text, images, and so forth. Example, ChatGPT. Technologies that empower computers to perform advanced tasks such as visual perception.
We don't hear the sound on our end. So, but what the video is talking about is the changes that AI are incorporating.
Driving in vehicles, and even engage customers through AI-powered chatbots. To truly understand AI, we need to explore its different types. There are three main categories. First is narrow or weak AI. This type focuses on specific tasks and lacks full cognitive abilities. Examples include voice assistants like Siri, search engines, and AI chatbots. Second is general or strong AI. This type aims to achieve intelligence equal to humans and perform various tasks beyond narrow AI. However, we haven't reached this level of technology yet. Finally, we have super AI. Artificial superintelligence, also known as ASI, allows machines to exceed human capabilities and tackle complex problems. It holds great potential, but comes with both benefits and risks. AI works by processing large amounts of data and using algorithms to recognize patterns. It can think, act, and respond like a human. Machine learning, a subset of AI, plays a crucial role. It includes supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Through these methods, AI systems learn from data, improve performance, and offer solutions, predictions, and even suggestions. Large language models, also known as LLMs, leverage deep learning techniques to comprehend language. These models can process vast amounts of data, answer questions, engage in conversations, and solve problems.
You would think after all the Zoom meetings during COVID that I would remember how to use Zoom, but I apologize. Tonight has just been one bumbling issue on my end after another. So AI in education, this feeds into where are we going with AI in education and generative AI specifically. So take a moment, read what's on the screen, ChatGPT. If you're not familiar with it, it's a product from OpenAI, trained on a vast amount of data that was fed into it. This is written by ChatGPT. So I asked it, tell me about what ChatGPT is. DALL-E, another product from OpenAI, building images, also written by ChatGPT. So 2 examples of quick tasks. This is full credit goes to Hannon on this slide because this was her work, but I wanted to share it because I think it really gives you a good view in. So FRSD mascots. Input goes in, we need a friendly bear wearing a red shirt in a field of barley. We want a friendly dolphin, a cougar in Copper Hills, a raccoon named Robert, a husky running a track with the clock tower behind it, just like Reading Fleming has, and finally, a friendly tiger playing basketball, all created with DALL-E. So inputs going in, and this is what we get as a return. So we need to keep in mind, generative AI tools can write essays, they can create artwork, they can compose music. They are doing this by recognizing patterns, taking that data that's fed into them, understanding it, generating new content. The crucial part for parents to recognize is that while this is immensely valuable, there is amazing things that this can do, we also need to support our children and our students in understanding that originality, copyrights, and ethical considerations of how we're using those outputs need to really be examined. So what can AI do? It can help teachers with grading. It can take some of those tasks, it can provide that grading in a much quicker way, even beyond multiple choice into rubric and text scoring, which would allow students to receive feedback that is targeted, specific, and timely, all the things we want. It can adapt based upon a student's needs. based upon the output that they're performing. You know, they're answering questions. If they're getting it right, it can ramp it up. If they're struggling a bit, it'll slow it down or attack it in a new way. And it can help educators craft coursework, teaching materials that'll engage students in a new way. It can move us from neurotypical to neurodiverse learning structures. So looking at this, we have different learning pathways to form displays and inputs for students. It's a great tool to say, how do I have students do X? Or can you take this text and give it to me at a lexile level of this? Or what's a new and interesting way that I can explain this to a 6th grade class? Or what's a way that I can do this and ensure that my students that may have dyslexia are able to access this material? And from correct answers to additional goals. Again, speeding up, slowing down, giving different types of learning supports. It is really focusing in on how are the students performing and then providing additional support based upon that performance. So potential benefits: content development, differentiation, assessment design, timely feedback, tutoring, personalized learning assistance. This is already baked into a lot of different online programs. Creativity, collaboration, skill development, and efficiency. The risks on the flip side of that coin, we have to worry about plagiarism. That's been here. We've known that, you know, plagiarism exists. However, it is becoming that much easier to plagiarize when you can give it an entire input and it'll give you an entire essay as an output. Diminished student and teacher agency and accountability is a risk factor. Compromised student privacy, since this is collecting data and a lot of these programs require permission in order to be used. Over-reliance on this, which can result in loss of critical thinking. And then societal biases. And we're going to look at that in a little bit. So where is this headed? We already have this. We already see this. There's enhanced question types. This is already part of assessments like the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment. NJSLA has enhanced question types already baked into it. We're looking at measurement of complex competencies, kind of the soft skills that they're always discussing. How do we measure this? A lot of the AI that is in this field is focusing in on how do we measure something like a student's adaptability when they're working on problems, or how do we measure teamwork and collaboration? Greater real-time feedback, again, timely, targeted feedback to students. Increasing accessibility. So again, neurodiverse learners are able to access appropriate education. And adapting to a learner's ability, as we said, as the student is answering, they're answering it correct, it's ramping it up. They're not getting it, it's adjusting, it's realigning. So Google Gemini Workspace, I'm not going to play this video, but this is Google's version of AI assistance that is there. So if you haven't played around with this, I would recommend going to Gemini's website, give it a shot, give it a go. I'm going to skip past the video for now. OpenAI, so here again, DALL-E, put in a prompt, out comes video. I want some woolly mammoths running. Here we go. This video is going to show you an entirely AI generated prompt. This video is created as a teaching enhancement, a tool that can be brought into the classroom. Historical footage of the California didn't have cameras back then. We weren't able to show that. However, we can film like this. Everything you're seeing on the screen is not real video. Who doesn't love a flock on paper? And then you'll see, not always 100% accurate. Not always going to do what the input is asking. another glimpse into what AI can do in education, which leads us into district policy. How is this going to be used? This I thought was a really helpful graphic. If we're looking at almost like a feedback loop, this is going to be a great loop to have everybody focus in on. Stage one, we're going to create a policy that's going to address the immediate risks so that AI does not undermine learning during the upcoming year. We're going to facilitate organizational learning by making small but strategic investments in harnessing individual learning that many educators are already excited about. Use the resources you have available. If we have teachers who are excited and they see potential in this, we need to encourage that. Maybe not immediately with students, but encourage it for them to use on their own, for them to use with their colleagues in a PLC meeting, for them to start to explore how can we use this and then develop a plan for putting it into practice. And then identify areas for improvements, effective transformations with potentials to scale up the educational system. And again, we go back to the beginning. And then we may need to modify the policy. We may need to look at how does this need to be adjusted as AI continues to develop. There's plenty of sources out there to read if you are looking for something. Some of them very interesting. Some of them read kind of like programming instructions for a VCR from 1985. So if you're having trouble sleeping, grab some of the more heady reports. It'll put you right to bed. But this one is something that came out from the Office of Educational Technology. So the federal government's giving some guidance. NJDOE is giving guidance. They have a website that provides their best practices, their insights and suggestions. Teach AI and CSTA are two leaders within the field that are producing multiple resources, both what can be used with students right now and also guidance with educational policy creation. NJSPSA, just had a webinar last May giving some additional pros, cons of artificial intelligence in schools. And then NEA put out a report, and their report, the 5 big areas that were focused in on students and educators must remain at the center of that education. It has to be evidence-based AI technology to enhance the educational experience, ethical development and use of AI and strong data protection practices, equitable access to the use of AI tools, and ongoing education about AI literacy and agency. If you took out the word AI in all of these, this is what we already have in place in education. We want students and educators to be at the center of education. We want evidence-based technology to be able to be used to enhance student learning. We want ethical development and use of tools and strong data protection. We want equitable access to tools for students. We want ongoing education for AI. Oh, let me remove the AI, for literacy, technology literacy, and agency. All of these things that we want no matter what part of education you're looking at. So there are 3 main ways that a lot of boards of education are looking at how can you tackle this. The first one is baking it into acceptable use policies or as a standalone policy. This is how it will be used. This is how it will not be used. These are the ways that it will be used within our district. A second way of approaching it is a student pledge for appropriate use coupled with the code of conduct. Just like we have a code of conduct and appropriate use for when students are producing work and avoiding plagiarism, this would be something a similar pledge would come into play. And then a combination of both of those. That seems to be the way that most districts are going because it allows for both aspects to be evaluated and put into practice. We can look at it and say, this is the acceptable use, the same way that you will use technology appropriately, and also have students really take ownership of that with a pledge so they fully understand why this is so critically important. So AI tools and uses are rapidly changing. As we know, every day we see something new coming out, another tool, another tweak to a tool. So possible pitfalls with this, if the policy is too specific, too granular, if AI is changing so rapidly, we need to focus on the honesty, the integrity of that use. We can't say you can use this program or you can use this program in this way, because by the time that policy is created and adopted, that technology will have already changed. So AI in student learning, flip the classroom. We can oversee AI-friendly work within the classroom. Once we get a policy in place, let's start using these tools in the classroom and showing students how we can use them to enhance their learning. Process over product. We're assessing students with frequent checkpoints, providing feedback, seeing how are they learning, how are they taking that information and synthesizing and producing. Multimodal assignments, assign mixtures, written, oral, visual, digital elements. Let's attack it from multiple ways. We want it to be authentic, high order tasks. Gone are the days of those lower level tasks. We know that we want students to really be able to take in information, analyze it, evaluate it, create some solutions. It needs to be complex. It needs to be meaningful. That's why we also saw a shift even within the standards of education from the DOE. It's no longer read this text and answer these questions. It's read these 2 or 3 types of texts, put them side by side, draw comparisons, and then answer questions. It's complex, but it needs to be, because that's where we are and that's where we're headed. And then experiential learning activities like conducting interviews, site visits, presenting ideas in real time. This is where we see, even if we can't get kids offsite, there are a whole host of real world connections that can come in through a Zoom or a Google Classroom connection. So we want to move from this. Generative AI chatbots have shown evidence of cultural, racial, and algorithmic bias. We have generative AI chatbots known to state false information as fact. And demographic data or factual information can be out of date because it's a limited knowledge of current events. So these are the pitfalls. These are the things we want to move away from. How do we do that? We focus on digital literacy. We help our students understand the ethical implications of AI and the importance of digital citizenship, the importance of using these tools in the way that they will enhance student learning. Critical thinking. We want our students to sit there and question and analyze that information and say, does this make sense? Does this seem accurate? What is the source? Where is this coming from? And problem solving, helping them really delve into problem solving skills that can be applied across the board in their education in multiple ways. So AI won't replace us, but instead humans using AI will outperform those without it. If we think about we're preparing our students for the future, we're preparing them for a future that we don't know what it's going to look like. And that's been education forever. We don't know what 20 years from now is going to look like. However, we do know that we need to prepare them for that. So we need to start using these tools that we know are not going away. They're only going to become more prevalent in everyday life. So we have to look at, how do we use those tools? How do we teach our students how to use those tools? So Flemington-Raritan School District, like many other districts, knows the value and the impact of student learning experiences in computer science early and often in their education. Students in pre-K are working with unplugged Lego coding kits. Students in kindergarten are working with unplugged and MIT Scratch-based robotics and coding as one of their 6 related arts. All students pre-K to 8 have, at a minimum, some form of computer science education class in 6 of 8 years of education. And this is not unique to Flemington-Raritan. This is the norm that we're seeing. This is what we know is necessary for students to really have that technology literacy. They need to start that early, and they need to have exposure often and frequently. So guidance for families, because I know this is a big part, and it should be, of how do we support your child by becoming familiar with a tool they may want to use. The same way that we probably would not just hand them an iPad and say, go to town and download whatever app you want, or here is Netflix with no parameters or filters on, watch whatever you want. It's the same thing with AI tools. If they're interested in one, try it out yourself first, get a little familiar with it, and then sit down with your child and explore it together. So again, before you try it yourself. Make sure that it's accurate and it reflects what you want your child to see, hear, or understand.
From chatbots to image generators, it seems like artificial intelligence tools that create new content are popping up everywhere these days. And, like any tool, those based on AI can be used inappropriately. So, now's the time to talk with your kids about safe and responsible use. Here are 5 tips to help your family explore AI together. First, talk about both the benefits and the risks. Lots of AI tools can help kids be creative and learn new skills. On the flip side, they tend to collect and keep lots of user information. This can put privacy at risk, so make sure your kids are behaving safely online. Second, try out AI tools together. Adult involvement is key to making sure that your kids aren't exposed to anything inappropriate. Taking a test drive as a family can also get everyone thinking about the ways they already interact with artificial intelligence. Third, discuss the biases in tech. Because AI programs are designed by humans and pull information from across the internet, they can make a lot of mistakes. This is especially true when it comes to race and gender. Encourage your kids to be critical thinkers and to always question the writing, images, and posts that AI tools create. Fourth, talk about plagiarism and cheating. Many popular AI tools generate text and images that offer an easy shortcut for kids' schoolwork. Remind your kids that claiming credit for work they didn't create could land them in big trouble. And number 5, reach out to teachers for support. Teachers at your child's school might already be using AI programs in the classroom. If so, ask about tools you can use at home to support learning. These could be anything from websites that help kids with learning disabilities to apps that teach another language. For more helpful tips.
So 5 effective ways for parents to support students with AI. Build background knowledge with chatbots. I'm a parent helping my 6th grader study. Explain photosynthesis to me in a way that helps me understand it and also teach it to my child. Get instant homework help. My child's struggling with the math problem 3x plus 5 equals 53. Can you help her solve it without giving her the answer? Create study guides. After uploading a picture of written notes, create a study guide for me using these notes. Just write resources. I'm a 9th grader. Please help me. Please teach me, about atoms. And finally, AI program tutors that are already out there on the internet. I'm not endorsing any of these specifically. These are just examples. So becoming familiar with the tools, I thought some of these were really interesting and great ways for families to start to really dig into this. Bedtime stories. Ask ChatGPT or whatever your favorite generative AI bot is to create a story using whatever prompt your child comes up with. Something new every night. So here's an example. Tell me a children's bedtime story about a young girl named Freya who needs to fight a dragon to save her village. Once upon a time in a cozy village nestled in the foot of a majestic mountain. I'm not going to read the story to you, but it can come up with anything. And it's completely customized to your child and their interests. And every night it could be a continuation of the story, or it could be something totally different. Questions and answers. For children who are really curious, have a lot of questions before bed, put aside 10 minutes at night and let's have a chance to ask a question, look at an answer, and then discuss it. That's a perfect time also to help them be critical thinkers. If the information doesn't quite seem right, it's the perfect time to have that conversation of, does that seem right to you? Does that seem that that would be real or accurate? Because as we know, it's not always 100% accurate. Advice for sleep. If your child struggles to fall asleep or stay asleep, asking AI for ways to help them feel a little more comfortable is a great way of helping them get to sleep. Practicing some mindfulness techniques and something for their overall well-being. Quiz time. Spend time as a family asking generative AI tools to create quizzes on any topic to challenge each other. Make sure you fact check it first, please. Choose topics on everything from science to pop culture. See who knows the most. Riddles and puzzles instead of quizzes. Ask AI to generate some riddles, puzzles to figure out as a family. Game night. Take traditional activities like 20 questions, trivia, or word association. Add AI to see who can beat the computer. Story relay. Have AI write the first part of a story, and then each family member takes a turn writing the next part. Act it out. Generative AI creates prompts for families like charades to play, or suggestions for drawing challenges, one-word stories. With AI, let's create a story one word at a time. I'll start once, and then AI will put in the next word, and back and forth we go. Character creation. You have a budding author at home. Help them come up with new character names, places, ways to focus on their writing. So supporting your children. Remind them, never share personal information online. This is part of digital citizenship, what we teach here in classes, but it's also a great reminder to have at home. Tell them how to stay safe online. Tell them what they should and shouldn't share. If they want to access a website or a program, they need to get that permission first, so that way they're not supplying information that they shouldn't be. And that brings us to checking age restrictions and requirements for those websites or apps. Spending time experimenting with AI will allow you to familiarize yourself with that tool and what you potentially will allow your child to utilize. So again, bringing this back to where we were before, it can create all of these wonderful things. However, we need to all stay vigilant, both in school and at home, to help our children understand the originality, copyright, and ethical considerations of using these tools. So generative AI bots have shown evidence of cultural, racial, and algorithmic biases. We know that they sometimes produce false information and claim that it's fact. We know that it can be out of date because it's not being fed current events as frequently. Here are some great examples that I thought would maybe give everybody a chuckle. Here are some vegetables that end with the letter P. Pak choy, parsnips, peas, peppers, prunes, pumpkins, potato, tomato, turnip. Oh, we got there in the end. Turnip ends with the letter P. Is it okay to leave a dog in a hot car? Yes, it's always safe to leave a dog in a hot car, especially on a warm day. The temperature inside a car, it remains around the same temperature as outside the car. Here's my favorite part of this. The Beatles famously released a hit single with about the subject titled, "It's Okay to Leave a Dog in a Hot Car," and there are the lyrics if you want to try singing. Following fruits with apple, banana, strawberry, tomato, coconut. How long ago was 1919? 1919 was 20 years ago. So we can obviously see these are not correct answers, but this is answers that it's going to generate and put out there. So these are the moments where we really need to stop and say, does this make sense? Let's be critical thinkers and start to dissect this. So students need to do just that, as I just said. Does this make sense? I know we're short on time, so I want to make sure that this goes up now. If there is a question that we don't get to answer right now, the QR code, which we can send out after this as well. If you scan it and you submit it, a question, it'll take you to Google Form. It has a field for you to fill out. And then we're going to be compiling a FAQ document that we can share out. As Dr. McGann said at the beginning of this, we are also forming our ad hoc committee. So if you are interested in joining that ad hoc committee, the first meeting will be on December 10th. And you can email Laura Brune to request a seat at the table for that committee as well. So I'm going to put this back up for questions.
So
and
that's
I'll turn it back to you, Dr. McGann.
That is just for Flemington-Raritan's ad hoc committee. There's potentially people on our call tonight who may not be from Flemington-Raritan, and those committees will be established potentially at their own school district. We're having conversations from superintendent colleagues about what's best for a specific school district. Here in Flemington-Raritan, we are just starting our policy. We have not put a policy in place. We heard from Dr. Hart in Reddington, what Reddington is doing and how they're looking to put a policy in place. So everybody's kind of in different, I would say, different groups, different places on adopting AI and putting things forward. So if you have questions, you can certainly ask now. We'll be sending out some information. Watch for information from your own school district as well. There's lots of superintendents from around Hunterdon County who are putting things out through their own school district about what AI is all about, as we're all working to try and put policies in place that are helping kids. So I want to say thank you to Ralph and Hannon. Both of them help me and Flemington-Raritan, and Ralph was working through lots of some technical rebooting on his end, and you did a great job troubleshooting. That's what technology is all about, working to solve problems and figure out ways to do new things. We did record tonight's session, so those that didn't have a chance to join us, please, you'll be able to follow the link and see the recording at a later time. I want to thank everybody for coming. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.